welcome here. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca. If you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you for coming back and watching another video. So in today's video, we're going to be decluttering my entire house. So if you're familiar with this channel or maybe you watched my house tour, you probably know that we live in a pretty minimalistic house. So you might be thinking like, what are you even going to get rid of? And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, because I feel like there's a lot of moment in time, like decluttering my whole life videos, especially out on YouTube. But decluttering is not like this singular point in time where you get rid of all your stuff and then you're done. It's an ongoing process that honestly never ends. It's something that if you're trying to live a more minimalist lifestyle, you're constantly evaluating the things coming in and going out of your life. Okay, I'm sorry if there's like weird background noise. I'm pretty sure my neighbor just started shoveling rocks like with a metal shovel. We're just gonna go with it. So I'm gonna go through my entire house today, except for my clothing. I think that's gonna be a separate video because I've recently brought some new clothing into my life and I think that needs like a complete overhaul. Too much to do for one day, one video. So I'm gonna do everything in my house besides my clothing and take you along with me. And along the way, I'm gonna give you a couple tips and tricks for decluttering. So my first tip before we dive into the actual decluttering is to just find a time that is right for you. So for instance, we went from living in a van to living in this house about 4 or 5 months ago. And I thought when we moved in was gonna be like the perfect time to declutter and like reorganize our whole life. And that wasn't necessarily true. When we moved into this house, we didn't really know what our life was going to be like yet. We were living in a new state, in a new climate, with new jobs. Everything was different, so I found that in the process of trying to declutter when we were moving in, we were saving a lot of things like just in case or because we didn't know. So that wasn't the right time. But now that we're 4 or 5 months into living here, we're a little bit more settled into our life. And so it's gonna be much easier to evaluate what we actually need and don't need. So if you're in a transitional moment in time in your life, it might not be the best time to declutter. Not saying that you can't do it, but it just might be more difficult for you. So I encourage you, if you feel like you're having trouble evaluating items or being like, I don't really know if I'm gonna need this because I'm about to switch jobs or I'm about to have a baby or whatever it is, maybe wait a couple months and then it might be a more appropriate time. Okay, with all that said, let's get up and get started. Okay, we're procrastinating. All right, so I am here in our office room, which also is the dog playroom. She likes it in here because it's the only room in the house with a carpet, so she gets to, oh, here she comes. It's like, I heard you were in the playroom. So my next tip before I dive into decluttering my desk is to start in a place that has the least emotional attachments. So I find that you get a little bit of momentum going the longer that you're decluttering. So if you start in a place that's really easy, like an office or a desk, by the time you get to something more difficult, like some sentimental items or some clothing or something like that, you'll have already built the muscle a little bit and it'll make it a little bit easier. So the desk is done and I've started to make some piles, which brings me to my next tip, which is to make 4 piles. 1 for sell, 1 for donate, 1 for trash, and 1 for move to another location. So right here I only have 3 piles so far, but this is sell, this is trash, this is move to another location, and as we keep going, I'm sure I'll have some donate stuff in a 4th pile here. Okay, so moving on from the desk, I'm just gonna quickly go through these 2 closets. And there's not a lot in these closets, so this should be pretty quick. This is where we're eventually gonna put a washer and dryer, but right now there's just cleaning stuff in here. Mop, duster, vacuum, we use all that. Vacuum parts, cleaning stuff. Okay, so I'm actually gonna take these cloths out of here. They have lost their ability to actually like pick up dust and stuff, so they just kind of smear things around. But I'm gonna put them in the put somewhere else pile as dog rags. And then this closet over here, so this is really all Murphy stuff. I'm not gonna touch any of that, but this I am gonna go through. Old sheets and towels that we use for like car repair stuff, for the dog, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna go through this pile quickly. Do you wanna declutter any of these toys? I feel like that's a no. All right, first room done. We are moving on to the kitchen. My next tip here would be to clean up before you start to declutter. So for instance, I just did the dishes because it's really hard to evaluate what you need and what you have if everything's not put away. If you have like 4 glasses in the sink and then 4 glasses in your cabinet, it's gonna be hard to recognize like, oh, maybe I don't need 8 glasses, I can declutter some of these, or whatever it is. So take a stab at cleaning up a little bit before you start decluttering. All right, the kitchen is done, but it also brings me to my next tip, which is to use decluttering as an opportunity to inventory what you have. So a lot of times we just don't know what we have, so we end up buying duplicates of things. So whenever I'm going through the house and just decluttering things, I'll kind of make mental notes of things that we have that we maybe don't use that often. So for instance, like in the desk, I was like, oh, we have some of these batteries. And in the kitchen, I was like, oh, we have only a little bit of rosemary left, only a little bit of crushed red pepper left, so like I gotta add that to the shopping list. Like that kind of thing, just to keep you more on top of what is actually inside your house, to keep you from buying unnecessary things. All right, so next up is the living room, and this should go pretty quickly because the only thing in here that really needs to be gone through is this cabinet that has our climbing gear and some of our dog stuff and workout gear in it. All right, so right away I can think of one thing in here I already know we can declutter, which is this extra collar for the dog. She came with this collar, we never use it, and we can donate it to the local dog shelter. And when you don't have a lot of stuff, this declutter can go really quickly. Like, I'm just gonna lift up some stuff. Yep, we use all of this, we use all of this. Climbing stuff doesn't really need to be decluttered, it's all important. Safety equipment, more climbing stuff. This is Murphy's again, I'm not gonna touch his stuff. And then down here is where we keep shoes. So these are my shoes. Those are Murphy's shoes. We still wear all of those. I'm gonna keep those there. Yoga mat and books. Again, those belong to Murphy. So I feel like I should pause for the next tip here in case you haven't already picked it up, but only declutter your own things. So there's a lot of stuff in here that belongs to my husband Murphy and not to me, and it's not really my place to get rid of his things. I certainly sometimes will pull things out and have him evaluate it. He's not really one to like proactively declutter things, but he's certainly open to evaluating anything. So I might pull some stuff out and say, can you look at this stuff? But I don't make the decision for him. Just make sure that when you're going through this process, it really is your things that you're decluttering and not somebody else's. All right, so the living room was pretty easy. I'm already done. Here we are with the cell, trash, move to another location, and donate piles. And now we're gonna move on to the bathroom. So I really only need to declutter this top drawer. That bottom drawer belongs to my husband, that one's mine, and then in here we don't really keep anything, just toothbrush, toothpaste, and floss, so that doesn't really need to be decluttered. But let's take a look in here. So there's definitely gonna be some stuff in here. I recently just shaved off my dreadlocks that I had had for a while, so right away I know that this can go. This was a tightening spray for my dreads. This was a scalp oil that I used. I actually am gonna keep this scalp oil because it's been feeling nice on my shaved head. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it and get rid of these tweezers because they've been bent for like 2 years, and I keep just trying to like make it work, but they don't work. Everything just slips out from in between them, and I think if I actually declutter them, it will force me to buy a new pair. Okay, then I have just dry brushes in here, and then this we need to go through. So this is hair stuff in it. Okay, so I have this, which I used to tie my hair up with, and now I have no hair. And I also have in here a hair elastic. Never again will my hair be that big to need an elastic that big. This scrunchie I'm gonna keep only because it was a gift, and someday I hope to have long hair again, so that's gonna go in the keep pile. And then what else do we have? Oh, we have a headband. I'm also gonna keep that. I think that will be helpful as I go through some awkward growing out stages with my hair. Bobby pins, I'm gonna keep those. This again is something I used to put up my dreadlocks. I'm actually gonna keep this. I think someday, 3 years from now, I might be able to make a voluminous ponytail with this because it's like wire, so you can make it as big or as small as you want to. I think this might be a good hair putter-upper one day when I have hair again. I don't know, I'll hang on to this for a little while. All right, and I think that's it. All that makeup I still use. This is just some coconut oil, I still use that. Yeah, there we go. Here is our bathroom declutter. That's mostly because I no longer have any hair. Like I said, I'm not going to declutter in the bedroom because really all that's in there is a bed and a closet with clothes, so nothing really to do there. But I am going to declutter this hall closet. And I think that this is going to be a little bit more of an undertaking than the other rooms have been. There's just a lot more stuff in here, so here we go. So I actually recommend not going out and buying like containers and baskets and things until after you've decluttered. And the reason is, as you're going through the decluttering process, you might find a lot of other like boxes and containers in your house that can be repurposed into organization tools, another place in your house. Or you might find that you don't end up buying like duplicates of things that you don't need. It's much easier to like walk into a place like the Container Store knowing exactly what you need and the dimensions of things you need. So you know like, okay, I'm gonna keep like my belts on this shelf in the closet, and the shelf it has these dimensions and I have 4 belts. Rather than kind of guessing and being like, I think maybe I want to put my belt in a container, let me just try and grab something. It'll just save you from buying excess things and spending money that you don't need to spend. So a good example of this is this cluster bin here of things in this linen closet. So we used to have 2 of these bins, but my husband is away for work for a long period of time and he brought one of the bins with him. So we kind of just threw everything that was left into this one bin. So I've been tempted to like buy a new container so that I can reorganize these things, but I didn't really know how much stuff there was. So I'm gonna organize it the way I want it and just make 2 piles in here, and then I'll have a better idea of what I actually need for a container. Okay, so now I've just organized the stuff a little bit better. So this is all first aid and medication. This is all like backup and travel containers. So now I have a better idea of the actual space that I have to fill and what needs to go inside the organization container so that I can bring something in a little bit more mindfully. Okay, so this bottom part of the closet I'm actually looking forward to a lot less. I think what I'm gonna do in this case is actually pull this stuff out into the living room, because it's just gonna be a little bit more of a process to go through all of it. The only thing I'm not gonna pull out is this is all full of records, and that is Murphy's record player. Those are his things. I'm not gonna go through that stuff, but all of our camping stuff, our bags, everything up here, I'm gonna pull it out and go through. Okay, so I was able to consolidate all the camping stuff just into this big white bin, meaning that we don't need this anymore. And all of our travel bags into one container as well. So these are all our packing cubes, anything we'll use for travel, laundry bag, but also all those travel containers that I was thinking about putting in with all of the backup stuff. So now that that's all in here, I need an even smaller container for the backup stuff. So just kind of goes to my point earlier about waiting till you're done with the declutter to actually purchase anything, because things keep changing all the time as you continue to move things around and organize. All right, here's the after of the closet. I know it's not a dramatic change, but this stage of decluttering, this sort of maintenance decluttering, never really is. I'll just show you the final of everything in the 4 piles. So this is my cell pile. This is actually a tent that goes on the back of our bus that we did not use at all when we lived in the bus. So I'm guessing we can probably sell this, but this is a question I have to ask my husband if he's okay selling that. This is the scanner to sell. This is all trash. All this is things to be moved to another location, but we're keeping. And this is the donate pile. So this empty box, it just was sitting around with nothing in it. I thought I might use it for something, but never did.
the dog collar, this bag that some pillows came in, that I'm just gonna donate that. This is a bowl that we used in the bus that we never use anymore. I'm gonna donate that. This was a little jar we had in the kitchen that has no cover, and I wasn't using it. So this I bought in a weak moment. It wasn't very expensive, but I was really excited to live in the desert and thought that I wanted it in my house, and turns out I don't. And then we're gonna donate this dog collar and probably this old sheet to the local dog shelter. All right, so that's it for my maintenance declutter for this week. Again, tune in next week. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do my clothes next week. If not next week, it'll be in the video the week after. But I hope you found this helpful and just a realistic view into what I do every few months to just keep my home minimal, to keep the things that add value to me. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up so I know to make more videos like this. And please make sure to subscribe down below. I put out new videos every week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends. And let's do that again. Doggo on the move. Okay, I'm hungry. What am I doing? Oh, it's already sticking up back here. Lay down. I feel like that was too quiet. Ow, my butt. Ow. You're eating a bug? Don't eat a bug.